This is the pattern. Copy the size you're interested in. As you can see, this is both the front and the back piece. So you can copy the front first and then you can copy the back. And the only difference is in the neckline, where you see that the lines are crossing each other. Make sure that you copy the right line. Make sure that you also write all the information that you can see on the pattern. I'm going to use a cotton fabric which is stretchy. It's a cotton jersey fabric. If you're very good at sewing, you can try to use maybe a viscose jersey fabric, but that's a bit more difficult. And as you can see, my fabric has a pattern already on it, so I need to decide where the pattern should go, and I need to make some markings on my pattern pieces so I get the pattern on the fabric lined up. The pattern pieces should be cut on the fold, and I am adding 1.5 centimeter on the sides because I'm not sure about the size. And at the hemline I'm adding 3 centimeters, but in the neckline only 1 centimeter. Cut according to your markings. Make a small notch in the fold in the neckline. Lay the front and back piece right sides together. Pin and sew the shoulder seam. You should sew with a stretchy seam and 1 centimeter in seam allowance. When you use a stretchy seam, you don't have to backstitch. Always press the seams. Try to press them towards the back. I'm hemming the sleeves. I am turning 3 centimeters towards the wrong side. Press. Now I am sewing with 2 centimeter seam allowance, and I'm using a decorative seam which I think fits this kind of fabric. Measure your neckline. You can start at your notch and measure all the way towards the back. Now you have half of the neckline. So I'm cutting on the fold, but I'm taking away about 20% from the measurement. So the neckline is going to be shorter. It's going to be 5 centimeters wide. Make sure that you cut this strip so it's elastic this way. You can sew the short edge together, right sides together, using an elastic seam. Make a small cut towards the seam so you can fold the seam allowances on either side. Fold it in half and pin it all the way around so it lays edge to edge. So the seam is going to be in the back, and now I'm putting a notch at the front. As you can see, I've folded it in half. So this notch is going to line up towards the notch in the front, edge to edge, right sides together. The seam should be pinned in the back, and then you pin all the way around. You need to stretch the piece that is the neckline. As you can see, you can use your sewing machine like this, so you can sew all the way around your neckline. Use 1 centimeter in seam allowance, and you need to stretch in the same time as you sew, all the way around. When you press this piece, you need to make sure that the seam allowances always faces downwards. Lay your sweater with the right sides together, line up your side seam, pin it and sew with a stretchy seam, and here you should sew with 1.5 centimeter. I hope that you have tried your sweater on so you know that it will fit if you sew with 1.5 centimeter seam allowance. If it seems to be too small, you can sew with 1 centimeter in seam allowance. Since I sewn with 1.5, now I can trim away the excess fabric. Then I have tried it on, and I've seen that I want to hem the edge with 2 centimeters towards the wrong side, pin and press. As I did before, I'm going to sew with the same decorative seam from the right side all the way around on the hemline. And once you have pressed it, your batwing sweater is finished. You will find this pattern and much more on my Patreon, which is called SewForKids.